Hello and welcome to a live deprogrammed episode. We're doing a very special episode and it's not our normal time. So thank you if you're here hanging out with us live. If not, I hope you get a chance to watch it later. I'm going to get started right away because my guest has limited time today. I'm very excited to talk to this gentleman. This happened by chance, this interview, because I saw him being piled on in a social justice group in Georgetown, Texas, a local group, and shared some thoughts about it. And I thought I recognized him, but I wasn't sure. My guest today is Will Johnson, and you may know him from Unite America First, or you might know him. I first heard of him a few years ago when he was part of Patriot prayer rally. Please welcome Will Johnson. Hello, sir.
Hey, nice to be here.
I'm so happy that you're here. Thank you for giving us your time. I'm also very happy to say, just personally, I'm so glad you're in Texas now.
Yeah, me too. Got out of California.
Can you tell people a little bit about California? Speaking of that, a little bit about yourself. When I was looking at your bio, there are some things that you and I have in common. And one of the things that mentioned in your bio is that you were a lifelong Democrat until you moved to California. Can you tell us a little bit about that for anyone who's not familiar with your background?
Yeah, so my parents were from Arkansas, and my adult childhood, from 18 until about 20, 27, 30, I was living in Arkansas, and I considered myself a Democrat, and I wasn't into politics. So when I first started paying attention to politics and started voting, my parents, because of the history that they've been told to support the Democrat Party, I was supporting the Democrat Party because I was always told that the Democrat Party was for minority women, et cetera, et cetera. But then I moved to California. And once I moved to California, I realized that the Democrat Party was not the party that I was always told, because they were extremely nasty. You have to be a certain way. They were pushing sodomy. Now, if people want to live a certain way, then that's entirely up to them. Right. If you want to, and I've always made that clear. Like, if you're an adult and you want to live a certain way, you can live that way. But when you push it on the children, I have a problem with it. And one of the things that woke me up is when Obama lit up the White House in the sodomy colors. And I was like, okay, because I've always personally been a believer in God. And I'm like, okay, I don't agree with that. I don't agree with that. I had a problem with it. And that kind of really turned me off with Obama. But then the Democrat Party as a whole started just coming out saying this is the way we want to be. And now, again, if people want to live that lifestyle, I'm not going to come to your door and knock on it and say, stop doing that. It's not for Will Johnson to say. It's not for me to say. It's already been said. I'm not going to say it. But what really got me is that how liberals, specifically white liberals in California, were treating me as a black person. Like I was less than nothing, meaning that I couldn't do anything unless they helped me, or I couldn't achieve anything unless they made it possible. And I'm thinking to myself, well, you didn't bring me to this point. I did all this on my own with the help of God, of course, but I put in the work. And they want to say, like, well, the only reason why you're anywhere is because of what we've done. So, I mean, there's a lot more to the story, of course, but
right.
I mean, that's pretty much it in a nutshell.
That's your waking up story in a nutshell. Did you feel like this is something, the further I've gotten out of the social justice world, this is something I've noticed more and more. Did you feel like they're trying to speak for you?
Oh, absolutely. They try to speak for me. They try to think for me. And then because I noticed when I get off of that, when I got off of that way of thinking, like, oh, they're telling me I don't know what I'm thinking. I don't know what I'm doing. You have to do this. You have to do that. Yeah, there's a lot of that. I mean, and the interesting thing, they don't only do it to black people, they do it to everybody. And I'm pretty sure you've experienced that now that once you start seeing the truth, you can't unsee it. And then they get upset with you because you don't think the way they want you to think.
Yeah, they claim to speak on behalf of women, black people, gay people, trans people. But if you don't speak that ideology, then they say, well, you're internally sexist or racist or homophobic, like you hate yourself and you're just a tool. Like, okay, so are you robbing me of all agency as an individual to have my own thoughts?
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. When I was in California, we were trying to have a rally with Patriot Prayer. We were going to have a rally in San Francisco, and that's when Nancy Pelosi called myself, Joey Gibson, and two other people white supremacists. I'm
I
like, really?
I have to put this up here on the screen. I actually pulled this up ahead of time because this was, I think, when I first heard of you and was really like, wow, I love what this guy's doing. If for anybody who wasn't paying attention back then, this is right around the time I was waking up, 2016, 2017, and I started to notice all these contradictions. And this was an article from 2017. Pelosi dubs Patriot Prayer in San Francisco a quote white supremacist rally. You guys were mostly men of color. Am I
Yes.
right?
Yeah, so it was four of us that was organizing. The only white, there was one female that was doing it with us, and she was white. But the other guy was Hispanic, and then Joey Gibson, which is Asian, right, to my understanding, and myself black. And we have one white female, but Nancy Pelosi called us white supremacists. And it was really bizarre. And I'm like, I guess I can mark that one off.
Right. That's a new one. Right. So, and didn't it result in, correct me if I'm wrong, but didn't it result in Antifa targeting you guys and trying to turn it into a day of violence?
Oh yeah, absolutely. So really quick, what happened was that we were going to have the event and we end up canceling it because what Nancy Pelosi and the Democrats, what they did, they made it to where Antifa would be able to just be at arm's length to reach us and touch us. And the police officers were not going to keep them behind lines. They were literally trying to create another Charlottesville. That's what they
Yeah.
were trying to create. So we saw what they were trying to do. We counseled it. And I'm going to be honest with you, we felt crushed. We
Yeah.
felt completely defeated. But as a result of that, we counseled it and we had a press conference afterwards in an undisclosed location. Antifa couldn't find us. And since then, I still have never seen the number of Antifa members that they had in that city, San Francisco, any other time. And they showed helicopter footage. The entire street was black with Antifa because they wear all the black. They were black.
Not
And
with black people, but with white people wearing black.
exactly. And so what ended up happening is that because Antifa could not fight with us, they went through the city block after block, destroying vehicles, throwing bricks through windows, businesses, everything. It got to the point to where Nancy Pelosi herself had to go on national television and denounce Antifa.
I missed that part of
It
the
was
story.
it was beautiful. So I like, what? This was worth it. Us canceling it just so she had to go in there and denounce Antifa was worth it.
After she incited them,
Yes.
essentially.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Wow. So you and I, like I said, I think we have some things in common in terms of our trajectory and walking away from the left and the kinds of things that woke us up that we started to notice. One of them is that hypocrisy that I mentioned, where they treat you. They say they speak for all these different, racial groups, sex groups, sexuality groups, but then they attack you if you don't fall in line. I just want to share this. This is how we got in touch recently, because there's a group that's in a woke group in Georgetown, Texas, my community, and they're always out on the square every Saturday. They have a big Black Lives Matter banner. You guys can see, I'm going to show you a picture of them in a minute. They're mostly white people wearing black, like usual. And they have a private group. It's called Wilco Patriots Group, Wilco for Williamson County. They're trying to co-opt the word patriot, I think. They posted a picture of you, and I didn't recognize you at first. They posted this photo of you in their private group so they could all privately mock you. Now, again, you guys, these are social justice people. They claim to speak on behalf of Black people, and they care about ending racism, right? Here's some of the comments. They said, today's winner of crazy, and it's a picture of you. And then here's some of the comments. That's some serious self-hatred right there. I'm sure that was a rich conversation. He doesn't realize that the group of MAGA doesn't even like people like him. These are white people, by the way.
Yeah, right.
Then the mental illness is real.
You know what? I have to admit. So I look for those comments, and I think I just happened to look on Messenger because you actually shared it with me on Messenger, and I thought, oh, what is this? Because most of the time I get so many messages,
Yeah.
I don't ever, I can't keep up with them. And I'm not to say that I'm all this or anything, but I just
No,
happen to
it's
see
just a
yours.
fact.
Yeah, I just happened to see yours, and I was like, wow, okay, okay. So then we just started having a conversation, but I see these comments. Oh, you know what? Some of those were just really extremely nice. I get some that are so hateful, so despicable. And, this is another thing about me leaving the left. When I was considered myself a Democrat and I would go on social media and have conversations with people, the overwhelmingly, every time I would have conversations with white conservatives, white Republicans, they would say, dude, you don't know what you're talking about. You're confused. They will repeatedly say this. But then when I became a conservative Republican myself, these people on the left, especially white liberals, white Democrats, they would say the N word to me. They would say this,
Yeah.
all this racist stuff. And what was most interesting is that the black people that are on the left, they see the white people saying this to me, and they would join in with the white people saying it to me. And I'm like, what? So
Yeah.
that it was an eye opener right there, and that was another part of helping me transition. Like, you know what? That confirms it right there. Who's actually the racist in all of this?
I'm so glad you're talking about this because, as I mentioned you before the show, I still get people on the left who will sort of hate watch my episodes sometimes. I know this because I get hate mail, but I also get occasionally messages from people who wake up slowly over time, which is amazing. But one of the things I think that the people who are in it with good intentions, who are in these social justice groups with good intentions, and there are some of them, I just don't think they're the majority anymore. I don't know. They don't, it's almost like they're not aware of this. Like the fact that you just said, look, white leftists call me the N word. They don't even know that. Or if they see it, they turn a blind eye.
Yes.
Why
Yeah.
do you think that is?
Well, I think they turn a blind eye because they probably feel the same way themselves. And
Mm.
if we look at actual history, because that's part of the reason why I go to Georgetown, because the actual history shows what the Democrats have done. It wasn't the Republicans that didn't want women voting. It wasn't the Republicans that didn't want black people voting. It wasn't the Republicans that wanted to keep black people enslaved. It was always the Democrat Party, and it's never changed. And they always try to say that, well, the parties change. No, the parties actually never did change. That was another lie, another big lie that the Democrats have been pushing to the masses, and a lot of people believe it. The only thing that changed were the tactics that the Democrats used to control not just black people, but they used it to control white people today. They use it to control everybody today. And they turn a blind eye to it, right? They turn a blind eye to it because they want people to continue to say that. So, like, I'm not going to speak out against it. I'm not going to say anything against it, but let a Republican mention anything that be remotely close to saying something that's racist. Like Ron DeSantis in Florida, he mentioned in 2018 about we can't monkey around with our politics. And automatically the left, they associated what he was saying to black people.
They do stuff like this all the time.
Yeah, I'm like, why?
Why? Do you think it's because a lot of them are here? I'm gonna put this on screen. This is an image you shared of that same day. Once I posted those pictures of what they were saying in their private group, you shared this in the thread. These are some of the Wilco Patriots, the white Wilco Patriots of Georgetown, Texas, who are out there for Black Lives Matter every week, denigrating a black man who disagrees with them. There they are, guys. Do you think that these white people are? Do you think that they're? Do you think that they're racist in terms of their attitudes towards black people, and that's why it comes out easily when they like casually will use the N word if they get triggered? I'm asking you this because I'm sure you're familiar with one of the most famous white anti-racist social justice people, Robin DiAngelo, and in her book White Fragility, she talked about how she shared a memory of going to a picnic, a work picnic or something, and how she panicked inside because there were 2 tables of people and she thought she was going to have to sit with all the black people. And she shared this to kind of say, like, this is what all white people are like. And I'm like reading this like, no, like something's wrong inside of you And so you're projecting this onto everyone else. Like, this is what we're like, this is what do you think that these people are like the definition, that real definition of racist?
I think in their minds, they're telling everyone that we're not racist, but they expose themselves as to be racist.
Mm.
And let me explain that. They believe that black people don't understand that their lives matter. Why in the world would a white person wear a t-shirt that says Black Lives Matter? And their reasoning for doing it, and I've heard them say it, because we need to concentrate on black lives. And they'll even say, well, all lives do matter, but right now we need to concentrate on black lives because black lives are the ones who's being attacked by police officers. The black lives are the ones that are being threatened all the time, which is not true at all. If anyone is doing anything to black people, it's other black people. We already know this information. And the actual KKK, the actual Democrat Klan, right? They're not attacking black people because black people are doing a better job than they ever could have. And they're getting away with it. The law is not stopping it. We're seeing it. But they actually have in their mind as white people that we need to do more for black people, and because black people are unable to do it for themselves.
It's like this condescending, like they're up here.
Exactly. Black people can't do for themselves, so we have to help them and we have to do for them. People learn. I learn from my own mistakes, from me falling and picking myself back up. And some people just give up. And it doesn't even, color has nothing to do with it. People give up in stuff that they do all the time. But you learn when you fail in something and you get back up. And they believe that they have to come in and prevent black people from failing, but that's exactly what they're doing. Really quick, so I moved to Texas, and when I moved to Texas, the house across from me was empty, and a white couple moved in with a little girl, and they're nice. We wait to them. I talk to them every now and then, and never talk about any politics because you don't know, right? So I just leave it out. One day I get in my vehicle to leave. I look across the street, and they have a Black Lives Matter sign in their yard. And I'm like thinking, how insulting is that?
I know.
Why do you need to tell me that? Like, you know what? We know you can't figure it out, but we're here to tell you.
Yeah, it's so they don't get it though. That's why I'm laughing. They don't realize how cringe they are. It's like, I mean, I sometimes joke about those signs, the ones that are like, in this house, we believe women are people. They really say this: women are people, Black Lives Matter, science is real. I'm like, why don't you just put a sign that says, like, in this house, we believe murder is wrong? Like, duh. Right. All of these things are duh. Why do you have to virtue signal these things?
Exactly. And what's interesting is that when they put it up before the 2020 election, and then right after that, it went away. It went away. And then they put it up one time since then when another black thug criminal was killed by a police officer. And then they put it up again.
There's a psychological thing that happens there too with that sign, because any young black children who see that, you're planting in their mind, the world doesn't think you matter. This sign has to tell you, because the world doesn't. And I was thinking about this because there's all this stuff now in schools about like, girls can do science too. Girls in STEM, girls of the future, whatever. I'm so glad I didn't see all that shit when I was a little girl, because I think it would have made me think, wait a minute, do people think I can't do science? Like, I never had any question about it. I went to a science and math high school. I don't think I would have done that if I had been constantly assaulted with this, like, girls, you're good. Don't listen to, you can do science. You're smart too, girls.
Yeah. But you know what? That's where CRT comes into play. Mm-hmm. That's exactly what CRT is. CRT is to convince the black kid that he is a victim. He's been oppressed. And it's to teach the white kid that they've been oppressing these black kids. They've been oppressing the student that they sit next to. And what's really ironic is that the black kid may have on $150 Jordan and the white kid probably have on $50 Converse. So who's being oppressed? I'm like, really?
Yeah. But
really?
They put that in your head. What if you put a sign up quietly that your neighbors saw that said, like, white people, you've got this, you can do it?
or even now that some universities have all black dormitories. I mean, imagine if someone said, "Oh, it's just white dormitory," they would probably burn the whole university down.
Yeah. It's the upside down nature of this just continually fascinates me.
Yeah.
Well, okay, I know you have limited time, so before you take off, tell people a little bit about your organization, Unite America First. Like, what are you trying to do with that, and where can people find out about it?
Well, originally when I first started, I was thinking because I was a Democrat and I guess the phrase, I got red pilled because I started seeing the truth and I started seeing exactly what the Democrat Party was truly about. And I started Unite America First thinking that, okay, because the country is so divided, here's an opportunity for someone like me that actually woke up and changed, that we can actually unite America first, or unite America, thinking that I can bring Democrats and Republicans and independents all together to have a civil conversation, that we can all get along. Because at the end of the day, we're all supposed to be Americans. We're all supposed to be for America being great. We're supposed to be for that. At least I thought so.
Yeah.
And then I realized that you really can't do this with people who hate America. They burn the American flag, and it's not because they're burning American flag for freedom of speech. That's completely different. They burn America. They burn the American flag because they're burning it because they said the American flag represents oppression, when that's not the case at all. And it's they've been lied to.
Mhm.
And then I've actually had people send me messages saying, "Will, because I don't agree with sodomy, personally, I don't." Now, if people want to live, like I mentioned before, people want to live that lifestyle,
It's a
that's entirely
personal
up to
belief.
them. Yeah, that's what I'm
Yeah.
saying. And I never go up to people, "You need to stop doing that."
Yeah.
Really? Like, oh,
Yeah.
really? Like that's gonna make a difference? I'm not gonna do that. But I personally, I don't agree with it. And people say, "Well, you're not being real uniting." Well, I didn't start Unite America First to bring gay people together, bring black people together, to bring white people together. I started to do Americans. That was the whole
Mhm.
point. And then I realized that you can't even do that with these people on the left, because they hate America so much. That's why they hate the term "Make America Great Again." There's nothing wrong with that term. There's
Mhm.
absolutely nothing wrong with that. And that actually benefits not only just white people, but it benefits black people, Asian people, everybody in the country. If America is great and you live in America, guess what? Your portfolio looks great. It was great under
Yeah.
President Trump. There was nothing wrong with that. And so starting America, uniteamericafirst.com is my website, uniteamericafirst.com. And now I do articles and I post stuff. And basically, I just try to bring awareness to what's happening. And there's so much crazy stuff, so much wokeness. The wokers. I think the Democrat Party should change their whole thing from the Democrat Party to the Wokers Party.
You're right. The
I mean,
wokers,
really?
like the workers.
Yeah, the
I get it.
wokers.
That's funny.
It should change
They
it to the
have.
wokers.
It's been completely cannibal. That's why, one silver lining of that, I guess, is because it's become so taken over by woke ideology, is that it's more visible now, and a lot of the classical liberals have left, like myself. Like, we've
Yeah.
left. Tulsi Gabbard just left.
Oh, and that's huge.
Mhm.
I mean, that's huge. You saw the video with AOC, right?
No.
You haven't
Which
seen
one?
it? Oh my
No. What
goodness.
is it?
So there's a AOC was having an event, and it looked like this in a room or auditorium of some
I
sort.
did
Looked like,
see it.
yeah, about like
But
look
tell
like they can
people.
probably, yeah, look like they can
Yeah.
probably get 250 to 300 people in there, and there's probably maybe 30, 40 people in this room, and they were screaming at her, and they bring up Tulsi Gabbard, right? Yelling at AOC because AOC supposedly was against the establishment, supposedly against going to war, supposedly against all this stuff that she said that now all of a sudden she's supporting. And they are yelling at her, and they bring up Tulsi Gabbard. I think Tulsi Gabbard making that public announcement that she's switching, and the reason why she switched is sending a wave out to the Democrat Party that they did not see coming, and they don't like it.
Yeah, they don't. She's a very high profile person to do
Yes.
that, to
Yes.
say the party has changed. It's not anti-war. It's none of the things it used to say, or I used to believe that it was. That's what happened to me. I was like, wait a minute, this party is racist and sexist, and they believe in violence and censorship, and what the hell happened? And war, like, in corporations?
Yeah, what happened to freedom of speech? Right? What happened to
Yeah.
freedom of speech? They don't care for freedom of speech. If you don't say what they want you to say, then you need to be shut down, or it's considered hate speech, or it's considered disinformation.
Yeah.
It's
Well,
really bizarre.
Well, sir, I know you have a limited amount of time. We're doing a short episode today, guys, but I just wanted to thank you for coming on the show. And I'm going to put up on the screen. This is where people can find you, uniteamericafirst.com. And your YouTube channel is linked below if they want to find any of your podcasts or commentary. Thank you so much for what you're doing. Thanks for going out there. And I can't stand those Georgetown people, the
Oh,
local
you know what?
patriots.
So many people go, Will, how do you be so patient with them? How do you not, yelling at them? Well, at the end of the day, I know I'm not going to be able to change their mind. And that's not that I know that I'm not going to. And I'm not even trying to change their mind. My goal is that somebody on the other end that was thinking like them will see how they're acting and see what they truly are and just start thinking.
Yes.
And I'm not asking, I think we need people with different ideas, and there's nothing wrong with that. I think we need that because then the world would be so dull if everyone thought the same thing.
Yeah.
So I think we need people with different ideas and to have civil conversation. But when they're nasty and act like them, I just want people to see it. I just want to expose them. So.
And do you have success with that? That's happened for me. I've had people.
Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
So really quick, I had this dude when I was in DC one time. This dude, he was a black dude. He was probably about 6'4", probably 275 pounds, just all muscle, right? He walked up to me. I know you. I said, oh, great. Here we go. What's going on? Big dude, right? And he go, I want to thank you. I'm like, what? He said, I want to thank you. He said, because I was hating MAGA Republicans. He said, I was hating them until I watched a video with you and he said, basically you said, what's wrong with me supporting the MAGA Republican Party? He said, you were saying this. And he was like, you know what? He's right. If he wants to support that, why not? Let him support it. Why do I have to get upset with him because he's supporting it? And then all of a sudden, he said, I started paying attention. I started recognizing things. He said, now, dude, he said, I'm a MAGA Republican.
That's the most amazing when it's like that. I love it. I love stories like that.
And all it is like, we just want freedom. We just want freedom. We want what they say that we want.
You want the freedom. I want the freedom for them to be able to share their views, which I think are repulsive, but to share it and for us to share ours. Right. They don't want us to be able to share ours.
Exactly. I can 100% agree. I mean, and they want to be able to have what they say be heard and followed, and everything that we believe in and what we say, it should not be heard or even considered. Yeah, because they want to shut us down because we don't think the way they think. But
they have to use censorship and authoritarianism. They have to because their ideology is so bad.
So
they can't sell it on its own.
So what happens when they're next? See, that's what I don't understand. You're wanting to silence us because we're saying something that hurt your feelings, but what happens when you're next?
Yeah, they never think that far down the road. I don't think they have good, like, what is it? They're nearsighted. Yeah. Spiritually.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. So, hey, thank you so much for having me on.
Thank you, Will Johnson. You have a nice day. Thank you for hanging out with us, and everybody go check out Unite America First. I'm going to hang around for a little bit.
All right, cool.
Thank you. You guys, I've got a couple of super chats. I'll put one up. I'm not going to stick around too long. Will had limited time. I appreciate you guys joining us late and checking out his site. I was so excited to realize that I knew him. Like, I posted those pictures of the people bashing him, and I didn't even show you half the comments. There were more. They just went on and on. Somebody called him Clandis Owens. Again, these are almost entirely white people in Georgetown, Texas, who were doing this to a black person privately. That's also so cowardly, in a private group bashing him. So I shared that stuff, and then people in the comments were like, wait a minute, I think that's Will Johnson. And I'm like, I know that guy. I know of that guy, right? So that was pretty cool. Okay, SB, hey, Keri, love your show. It's my 33rd birthday today. Happy birthday, SB. October is the best birthday month. I'm so happy for you. I hope you have a joyful weekend. Today's Friday. Have a good birthday weekend. My birthday was this week. We went to the Cracker Barrel, and it was a lot of fun. I got the Old Timers breakfast platter, which I highly recommend. And my husband got the chicken fried steak, which was also good. Let's see. Is there anything else? I didn't do announcements at the beginning since we had a short amount of time, so I'll do them now. Yes, here's a couple of announcements. Cheeky Mare says, if you would like to make clip suggestions, please send timestamps to the email kericlips@use, that's use.startmail.com. That's just if that's up your alley. If you're the kind of person who watches Deprogrammed and you're like, oh, this would make a great clip, Cheeky Mare is going to be cutting some of those, so you guys can send that to her to help her out if there's one that you think would make a good clip. And if that's a way to help us and support us, if you want to do that. What else? Book club. We are reading Political Ponerology. I've plugged this a lot, so I hope a lot of you are reading this. Even if you're not going to be in the video discussing it, I hope you read it. It's a great book. Get the one with the 4 by Michael Rechtenwald. We are going to be discussing it. I'm going to put out an announcement about this, but we're discussing it Sunday, October 23rd. It's going to be a private. We're doing book club private now for supporters. Paid supporters. We're trying to offer perks for supporters of the channel. You can support at, I believe, now on YouTube. You can do, we have YouTube, what do they call them? Memberships. $2 a month. And that's going to be a private chat. So you can, don't be afraid. If you're afraid of being on camera in public, it's not going to be public. It's just for the paid subscribers. Thanks. Will's in the chat. United America first. Keep up the great work. Let's do it again. You guys, I'm so happy to find out that he lives locally, like in Texas near me. I've mixed it up with those freaks on Saturdays too, the Black Lives Matter Wilco Patriots group, and I'm really hopeful that I usually work Saturdays, but maybe there'll be a Saturday I can go out and hang out there with him. Just very happy that he lives here. We need more Patriots in Texas because they're invading us, and yeah, that's awesome that he's here. Let's see. Anything else from the chat? Pirate, if you see something, flag it or tell me if I need to put something on the screen. Oh, here's that video in the chat for anybody that wants to see what Will was talking about, the AOC being heckled by progressives who were criticizing her support of war. And what was hypocritical about the video is AOC is the same person who's on the record several times defending violence from Antifa, defending Black Lives Matter riots, fires, all the stuff that happened during the Summer of Love. She's on the record defending that and saying that protest needs to be uncomfortable. That's the word she used. It needs to be uncomfortable, right? But when these two progressives stood up and heckled her and were yelling at her about her support for war, she told them she's not going to talk to them because they were being rude to her. A little bit hypocritical when you say that being uncomfortable is necessary. Pirate Tomsky says, just about memberships. Yes, we now have YouTube memberships. So I know some people were asking for this. I'm sorry it took so long. If you want to subscribe, be a paid supporter here on YouTube, there's different levels. You can do that now. You can support our channel for as little as, I think it's $2 a month. And if you want to do that and you know how that works, I think you just hit join at the top of the channel. But they're finally up. They're there if you want to support that way. And you can be a part of book club and everything. Just send us an email, deprogrammedpod@gmail.com, and let us know if you have subscribed via YouTube memberships, and we'll get you added to the book club list. Okay, I think that's it. Anything else? No? I'm going to call it an early day. I have to work tomorrow. So let's see. Yep, that's it. We're good. Okay. Andrew Joyner. Thank you, sir. Thanks for the super sticker. So last announcement, Monday, kerfuffle break, regular time. We're back at our regular time. It's going to be at noon Central Time. I'm going to have some of my favorite people on Monday. Deb Philman, Karen White, Mike Harlow. That's going to be just fun, talking about the news, hanging out. And then that night, Monday the 17th, I'm going to be on Comics Division show again, yelling at parked cars. So I hope you'll hang out with us that night as well. You guys have a great weekend. Thanks for hanging out.